Hey everyone, it's Zack Beck. Dogecoin has been on a meteoric rise recently. It started in 2013 as a joke based off of a viral dog meme, and now it has grown to a market cap of more than $40 billion. Dogecoin gained popularity as well as value alongside Bitcoin and Ethereum over the last year, and thanks in part to tweets from Elon Musk as well as the same Reddit community that boosted GameStop all the way to the moon right before it crashed back down. And now Dogecoin has gained a value of more than 7,800% just over the last year alone. So what I want to do in this video is break down in detail what Dogecoin is, why it is going up in value, where it's potentially going to go moving forward, as well as the strategies you and I should employ right now to prepare ourselves for other instances like this that might arise in the future. If you end up liking this video, please tap the like button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the notification bell. So let's take our time, dive into the details, and jump into it right now. So what is Dogecoin? Dogecoin is a cryptocurrency that has 129 billion coins in circulation right now, and new coins are added every single year. This generally contributes to the reason why it has a relatively low price. As a matter of fact, in mid-April, it hit an all-time high of 43 cents, which sounds relatively low, but when you think about the fact that just a few months ago it was trading at 3 cents or even less than that, it shows just how much this has grown. Furthermore, it's important to understand that when we're looking at the scarcity of supply of coins, that can really affect the value. For example, with Bitcoin, Bitcoin has a limited supply, a total amount of 21 million Bitcoins that will be created ever. And what we're seeing right now is that we have 128 billion Dogecoins on the market, where more are going to be created every single day. Therefore, this is something that you want to be aware of because every cryptocurrency is a little bit different. Furthermore, this was created as a joke, so it was never really intended for having any sort of transactional purpose or to be used in the market. So it's really more so than anything just kind of a funny thing that was picked up, and now it's starting to move forward, have real world value where people are actually becoming millionaires because they invested in this. So it's something for us to take relatively seriously because it indicates a similar phenomenon that we saw previously in the stock market when we saw GameStop go up to the moon right before it crashed back down. And right now we're seeing other cryptocurrencies coming online like SafeMoon, which are doing similar. So what I want to really take our time to understand is why is this happening and where do we see this price moving forward from here? So let's imagine that you took $1,000 and invested all into Dogecoin at the beginning of 2021. As of right now, that investment would have increased in value all the way up to $57,000. And that is just crazy when you think about the type of return on investment. But when you think about the fundamentals of what is happening right here, what you're actually investing in as of right now isn't necessarily anything other than a cryptocurrency that is getting a lot of media attention. And it's important to be aware of because as of right now, we're already seeing a bit of a retreat with prices to Dogecoin. So this just shows the volatility of the market. Not saying that it was a bad thing to do that if you did invest that $1,000, but you just need to know that it's a bumpy ride moving forward. So you might be asking yourself, how is Dogecoin different than Bitcoin or Ethereum? Well, the biggest difference with this is that it's not really seen necessarily as a store of value, where people see Bitcoin as a store of value similar to gold, or Ethereum, which utilizes smart contracts and has a lot of utility because people can use it in the marketplace. Dogecoin, on the other hand, was just created as this ongoing coin really to poke fun at cryptocurrency and someone just to do it as a fun thing on the side. And now it's turned into this large real thing where as of today, it is the 6th most valuable cryptocurrency on the market. That exceeds a lot of other notable coins such as OMI and others that you might be hearing a lot on the news right now. So why is Dogecoin going up in value so quickly right now? Well, this has been a long time coming. People have been investing into Dogecoin or buying Dogecoin for years, and they've been doing so more so as a joke, and it developed a really strong community where they could communicate back and forth and express why they were involved in this. And what we've seen now is that what we have happening over the course of the last year in the stock market and now in the crypto space is a lot of new investors are coming on board, and people are trying to find effective ways to be able to grow wealth quickly. And that is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not someone to dissuade you from doing so. I generally appreciate more of a long-term approach towards my investing strategy, but it's okay to speculate on occasion, and this is not investing advice for myself, just telling you what I generally do, which is more the index fund route, where I'm looking at a long-term approach, but some people have really been able to turn a profit. So it makes me wonder, why is this happening at this present moment? I think we've seen this repetitive cycle continuing to occur, and it's not necessarily something that's inherently different than what we've seen even in the stock market over the last couple of decades. And what we're seeing right now is that when people start to get rumors going along the lines where they understand that something might be gaining some traction or gaining some notoriety, and then it begins to get picked up by larger media organizations, People start to hear about it on just their social media feeds, and then people start looking into it more, and then they might pour money into it, and then the value starts to go. Then we might see other companies join on board, which we recently saw with Dogecoin, where Snickers even started doing advertisements going along with Dogecoin, which we think about as kind of insane altogether because it has no correlation with it. But when you see that overall just media attention starts to draw people in, more people become interested, and they hear a story about someone investing a couple $1,000s and turning it into a couple $100,000, they might want to get in on the action. So this brings up a bigger point that I want to talk about right now, which I think is very important for us to be aware of for our investment strategies moving forward, irrespective of if we're looking at Dogecoin, GameStop, SafeMoon, or some other thing out there that you might be hearing about, reading about on Reddit, or wanting to be interested in investing in yourself. And this brings up an important point, which is to buy the rumor and sell the news. Speculation occurs in the stock market all the time, but all the more so even in the crypto space. And over the last year, this has just been magnified on a grander scale. However, we have seen similar situations repeating themselves, and now they're occurring here in present day. And what I mean by this, it's kind of counterintuitive when you think you want to buy the rumor and sell the news, but think about the recent GameStop saga that occurred, where individuals were talking about a shorted stock, GameStop, and the potential for that to actually go higher in value if people invested and just held onto their investments. So as people began to go ahead and invest, they started buying up the shares when they were a lower price. This started to gain media attention. As more media attention occurred, then the price started to go higher because more people became interested. Then it reached a crescendo moment when it had full-fledged media attention across the board. Every news outlet, every individual, even Congress was talking about it. And then more and more people piled in and started putting their money into this. But then unfortunately what happened is the price started to drop relatively quickly after the fact. And that is just one indication of what we see when people buy the rumor and they sell the news. Generally speaking, by the time any sort of media attention is given to a stock, to a cryptocurrency, or anything to that extent, usually by the time you or I are hearing on it, when it's coming from a national media outlet or it's just happening on our social media feed, it's probably too late. Once again, I could be wrong about this, but this is something I've seen happen repeatedly during the course of my investments, and I think it's something for us to be aware of, especially when you are trying to make maybe a short-term profit. So by buying the rumor and selling the news, what you have to do is be more mindful and actually act a little more quickly and try and find information ahead of the time before it gets into mainstream, and that's when you can make more money. Another instance of this was Coinbase, which was recently listed onto the NASDAQ exchange, and what occurred there is that it was listed, and all the time leading up to that, there was a ton of hype. Then it reached a crescendo after it was listed. It reached a high price, almost over $420, then quickly came down after those people who were in early sold all of their shares. So the people who either worked for the company or who bought in at early stages in seed funding, they were the ones who had all the money in. They bought the rumor, and then they sold the news when it reached this peak moment where everyone was interested, and now it's just kind of hovering at that price where it's bottomed out at. And this is something I expect us to see happen with Dogecoin, because what has occurred recently is that we had the rumor building up for a long period of time where Reddit users and others on social media were talking about it. People were investing into it for years, not just for the last few months. And now it's reached this point where it's gotten media saturation, and now people are jumping in thinking they're getting a good deal by buying it for 42 cents, when in actuality it's really not worth anything at this moment because it doesn't do anything. And then furthermore, the people who got in early, those are the ones who can cash out. And right now we're seeing the price continue to kind of move around, but it has been down sharply ever since reaching its high. As a matter of fact, and speaking about high, on 4/20 they tried to actually co-opt that date, which is notorious for something else, and turn it into Dogecoin Day. And then all these media brands also came alongside and they tried to pump up the price of it, hoping that it could reach maybe $1 in value, and it didn't work out. It kind of reached that crescendo moment. So when you have this occur where people are starting to talk about something earlier on and there's this rumor building, if you're looking to make a short-term profit, that is probably your better time to do it. As opposed to waiting until it reaches full media saturation in the market, then people who go and invest at that time are generally the ones who are going to be what we call bag holders. They're the ones who lose most of the money. And I think that's very unfortunate because I know all of us lead busy lives. It's hard for us to keep track of what is going up, where the rumors are, and what's going on. And most of us just want to be able to provide food on the table for our family, a roof over the head, and be able to achieve our goals and dreams. And it breaks my heart a lot when I see people who are trying to invest their little money they might have, or the money they set aside they want to save and invest, and they lose it on speculative bets, something along these lines. Now, I want everyone to be successful. I am super happy for the guy who became a millionaire with Dogecoin. I'm very happy for people able to pay off loans or debt, or maybe to be able to actually move forward and achieve their goals of home ownership or anything to that extent through this asset. So don't get me wrong, I think that's a good thing. But for the average individual, this is a cautionary tale for us to be aware of, because it puts us all in a precarious position where we're investing into things that maybe we don't fully understand, and we just think because of the bias of other people, and actually confirmation bias of other people joining into it because it's on the media and we hear our friends might doing it, we think, oh, I'm going to invest in this right now and hope I can quickly make money. And it generally doesn't work out for the majority of people, and that's where I get concerned. So that's just what I want to share with you. I don't disparage anything. I think Dogecoin is hilarious. I think a lot of things are great associated with it as far as getting people interested in investing and into cryptocurrency, as well as just investing writ large. But I do see some red flags and cautionary tales, and also what we're seeing is that history doesn't often repeat itself, but it does occasionally rhyme. And what we're seeing right now is something happening that is relatively common, where we get a lot of media hype, a lot of attention, then by that time you've probably missed the boat. One of the most effective ways you can see Dogecoin's price go up to the moon is if you tweet the like button for the YouTube algorithm. I'm just kidding, but those tweets by Elon Musk sure helped out Dogecoin, and if you actually hit the like button here, it could help this video and push it to other people as well. So if you wouldn't do that, if you wouldn't mind doing that, I'd appreciate it a lot. So you might be asking yourself, well, where can I find the rumor? It's a good question, especially if you want to employ this strategy and actually try and buy the rumor and sell the news. I'm not encouraging you to do so, but if you're trying to do that, one thing you want to look at is trying to find online where you might be able to get information that people who are actively invested and actively interested in things are trying to share them. Reddit is probably one of your best places to look at this, whether it's Wall Street Bets community, the Satoshi Bets community, or other cryptocurrencies have their own communities. For example, I'm a part of the OMI community because that's a recent cryptocurrency that's coming online, and it's associated with a completely different element associated with cryptocurrency where they're actually backing NFTs, and it's really cool. I could talk about that in a separate video, but it's something I'm personally invested in, just for full disclosure. When it comes down to what you're looking at with buying the rumor, if you're able to find something where a lot of people are talking about it, but they're doing it in more of a contained community space and it hasn't reached full media saturation, that might be somewhere that you would look at. Be aware though that people might try and scam you, share incorrect information, and that's one of the inherent risks you have when you're trying to make short-term gains. So just be aware of that, something to be mindful of, but overall you could try Reddit, Twitter, and others, and that might be a good place to start. Or if you do deep research into companies or other things, that might be fine. But what we're talking about in this video is not trying to find companies that are fundamentally that strong. It's trying to find this kind of needle in a haystack sort of obscure thing that might get a lot of media attention and then send it to the moon. So that's something that you can do. Now, when it comes to actually employing a big time investment strategy, you want to take a couple of things into consideration. You want to make sure that your financial house is in order. So what I would encourage you to do before you're thinking about investing, whether it's Dogecoin, whether it's getting into index funds or anything to that extent, you want to do everything in your life to cut back on spending. Try and save money where you can by doing everything possible to cut back on your expenses. Furthermore, try to avoid lifestyle inflation. Don't do the same thing as everyone else out in society. Try and avoid having the nicest clothes, the nicest shoes, the nicest home, the nicest car, especially if it's causing you to go into debt. I'm not disparaging anything that you have that's nice. I think it's a good thing, but you want to be careful about that and not just kind of go with the flow and then find yourself in debt down the road. On that note, try to avoid debt. You really want to not have any sort of credit card debt, consumer debt, hopefully no student loan debt, definitely no car payments or anything to that extent. Really the only kind of acceptable debt I personally see is having a mortgage that's at a really low interest rate, but it's up to your discretion. I just don't encourage that because it doesn't help you to create a positive net worth. You have a negative net worth when you're in debt. What you also want to do is you want to do everything you can to begin investing into the stock market to secure your financial future. I personally like doing index investing into index funds, which are more safe and secure. They're relatively passive. What you're doing is you're investing into like the total stock market, such as the S&P 500, and then you just continue to invest on that on a weekly or monthly basis and just set that aside, continue moving forward for decades. You know, maybe you're going to do it for 10 or 20 years, and that's going to help you retire with dignity in the future, but also get your financial house in order in the present. So that's just something you want to consider, whether it's through a 401k and a Roth IRA. And if you have those both maxed out, hopefully you can then just have a brokerage account in addition to that. That's something I actually encourage you to do. I use Wealthfront for that. If you want to try Wealthfront out, go for it. You can click the link in the description. You'll get $500 managed for free. If you want to go more the individual stock route, you can do that as well. Feel free to click links for Robinhood and WeBull, which are in the description. You'll get free stock from WeBull up to $1,400 if you deposit $100 in the platform, and you get a few free stocks from Robinhood as well. Also, if you just want to do something that's somewhat seamless, you're not really worried too much about what stocks you're buying, you're kind of getting started with investing, you could try Acorns. Acorns links to your debit card, and what you do is when you go and make a transaction out in the marketplace, say you buy something for $5.50, it'll round up to $6 and take that 50 cents, invest it into an index fund, and you can just do that as an automated way to start saving and investing for your future. That's not your primary method, that's just kind of an entry point and a good way to kind of set aside some money for the future. Maybe if you're trying to like build a college fund for your kid, or just setting aside money for a down payment on a house or a car in the future, whatever it is for you. So, with all that being said, you now might be asking yourself, well, what is going to happen to Dogecoin? What is going to happen with the price of that particular cryptocurrency? In my opinion, I think we might see a bit of a pullback for the next period of time, and this is with cryptocurrencies writ large. Generally speaking, there's been a historical trend where about every 18 months, cryptocurrencies rise and fall and they kind of crash every 18 months. So generally speaking, maybe in the December-January timeframe, we might see a significant pullback with cryptocurrencies, but then it'll probably continue moving forward long term. I'm bullish overall when it comes to Bitcoin and ethereum, and I'm very bullish on other things like I said previously, like OMI. But what you're going to see with something along the lines with Dogecoin, because of its lack of utility, it probably doesn't have that long of a way to go as far as how much higher it's going to go, and also what's going to happen long term, 5-10 years down the road. But it doesn't say that people might not be able to make money here in the next year or so. So I don't want to discourage anyone who's holding it. If you're doing a great job making money, cool for you, but I'm personally not invested into it. So that's just kind of let you know where I stand on this right now. But also if it continues moving forward, wonderful. I hope that works out for you. But I just want to give you kind of my thoughts on this particular phenomenon, because it's something that we're seeing repeat itself consistently, where we have these kind of obscure instances occur, and that is because people in the stock market, in the cryptocurrency, it's not rational. It's very forward looking, and people operate with emotion. We're all human beings, and that's okay. That's just where things are right now. With all that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. If you wouldn't mind, please tap the like button for the YouTube algorithm, help push this video to other people who might need to hear it. Furthermore, if you have any questions, please comment down below. I'd love to interact with you, get to know you, do any research on your behalf, and help you make wise and well-informed decisions moving forward. Furthermore, if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to myself personally, as I do everything I can to create positive content that will make a positive impact in your life by encouraging you and myself to lead lives of meaning and purpose, all while maintaining balanced moderation. And if you do subscribe to the channel, please tap the notification bell. That will notify you every time I post a video, which I do on a weekly basis. Once again, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you next time.